Evansville, Indiana. 53 years of age, the Tigers' all-time winningest coach with 215 wins. Rodney Howard and Ben Middlebrooks to get us started. Brian Dorsey, Clarence Armstrong, and Brian O'Connell on the whistle.
Well, Josh Pastner was not only standing right in front of us, but he was out on the court shouting about something. And the jump ball just never happened.
And now we do, and Howard wins it to Devoe, and Georgia Tech with Kyle Sturdivant gets first possession. No surprise, Tigers man-to-man, Dan.
No, that's the basic Clemson defense. They will play some zone, but you got to push out against Usher and against Devoe.
Devoe Coleman, here is Usher trying to drive the lane. Shefflin, Middlebrooks force a turnover. Here is Hunter on cue, working around Devoe off the glass. They crash, and out of there comes Sturdivant with it. Collins took a nasty fall under the basket for Clemson. Devoe launching early in transition. Middlebrooks the rebound. Collins cherry picking, and Middlebrooks couldn't find him. David Collins a little shaken up now that he transferred from South Florida.
He landed hard. And Wes, we said Michael Devoe has not shot the three as well in conference play as he did in the non-conference portion of the season. Heck, early in the season he was leading the country in three-point field goal percentage.
Missed his last 6 now from the 4 after the miss a moment ago. Here is Collins attacking on the dribble, and it's 2-0 Clemson.
And that is the strength of David Collins. He's a guy who can shoot the three, but he's at his best when he's driving to the basket, using that big body to create some space for himself.
You see the freshman Coleman in the lineup, and 24 Howard with the ball has been much more productive, and that time the assist for Sturdivant. And we're tied early.
Wes, and as you mentioned, P.J. Hall not playing again for the Clemson Tigers, and so that leaves a little bit of a problem in the middle, although both Shefflin and Middlebrooks played very well in the game against Boston College. And Georgia Tech in the zone. Clemson really struggled with this in the first half of the first game.
Tigers in traffic, and here is Middlebrooks and one. It's almost, Dan, like a bonus if Middlebrooks scores for Clemson.
Well, it is, and that time, Wes, I thought he was fortunate to be able to get a score because he took a little bit too much time. You got to catch that ball and go right up, but he tried to collect himself. And so it actually turned out to be an advantage because he's going to get an extra opportunity.
Foul on Rodney Howard, his first. Middlebrooks free throw. By the way, just his 7th attempt of the year. Bounds away.
Well, he's not had a lot of minutes, Wes, because, of course, when P.J. Hall, the Tigers have one of the best post players in the conference.
Inside the layup for Devoe. Now, this P.J. Hall injury combined with Tyson really kind of threw everything into chaos for Brad Brownell, but he and his staff put together a zone defensive package. Dan worked last week in the upset of Wake Forest, and then they turned the trick again, but Hunter has been the scorer for the Tigers here. 7 to shoot, Shefflin to catch in traffic. Around Howard with the jump hook. And Usher the rebound for the Jackets.
That was pretty good movement against the zone, Wes, but it's going to be tough if they can't convert shots like that.
Yep.
Because you're not going to, your big guy is not going to be wide open under the basket. You're going to have to make shots in traffic.
Here is Howard, who fought through a midseason foot problem. Catch inside on Shefflin with the right hand. Rodney Howard, who's averaged 10 points and 8 rebounds. Had 10 and 8 at Notre Dame. He's been double figures 5 of the last 6, including a 19-point, 10-rebound double-double at Syracuse.
Wes, he missed 5 or 6 games with an injury, and then he was very slow coming back from that injury. And if he can give Georgia Tech an inside presence, that changes the Yellow Jackets substantially.
Yep. Here's Honor. 10 to shoot for Nick. Trying to find a crease in the corner. Collins, a 3. David Collins, his 17th 3 of the year. He's got 5 of Clemson's 7 at the other end. Howard misses the layup.
That's great hustle by Shefflin to get back and block that shot. Georgia Tech, they switch defenses. They play a couple of different kinds of zones, but now they're back in the man-to-man.
Middlebrooks, here's Honor, the catch and shoot. Back-to-back threes from the Tigers, Dan.
And Honor is another guy who has struggled in conference play shooting the 3. So that's a good sign for Clemson that one went down.
Howard. Here's Sturdivant, back to Rodney Howard, the reverse. Shefflin the rebound. Clemson trying to get an advantage.
Need to power that ball up on the same side, Wes.
Collins spinning, layup, good, pretty move. 7 for David Collins to start the ball game. The lead is 6 for Clemson. 8-0 run for the Tigers. And a 3 away and good for Usher.
And again, he's not a great three-point shooter, Wes, but he's not afraid.
Nope. There is no light green enough for Jordan Usher.
Usher, he plays at full speed all the time.
Yes, he does. Honor after the 3 snapped the run by the Tigers. Hunter lines up off the back iron. And they scramble for it and go to the deck. And ultimately, Sturdivant and Shefflin can't control it. Usher will.
And you better stop Usher, and Nick Hunter did, because Usher's going to go all the way if you don't.
Out of the corner, here's the freshman Coleman with an air ball. Now Hunter trying to flip the floor. Weaving through traffic and knocked away out of bounds. That'll get us to a break in the action. Well, Tigers lead by 3. Michael Devoe averaging better than 18 a game on the board for the Jackets. And likewise, David Collins off to a hot start for the Tigers.
There's a moment.
Defer to you here because you were doing games in the Atlantic Coast Conference when Mike Krzyzewski was named at Duke as the head coach to replace Bill Foster.
Yes, okay.
You also know how important the guidance and leadership of Tom Butters was coming out of those first 3 years. Well, the athletic director at Duke.
You cannot overestimate the importance of Tom Butters and his leadership in being sufficiently patient. Mike Krzyzewski could have the career that he's had.
That time Naz Bohannon couldn't handle the bounce pass from Hunter. Tigers with their first turnover of the ball game.
They had 18 the last time they played, and that was a big reason why Georgia Tech was able to win that game. Now, that's not to say that Mike Krzyzewski still had to perform. He had to recruit. His teams had to win. But he would have never gotten the opportunity if Tom Butters hadn't told everybody to just calm down and give us a little time here.
A remarkable athletic administrator was the late Tom Butters. 3-ball Sturdivant missed off the front rim, and here's Hunter and the Tigers. Clemson's got an initiative tonight to get the ball up the floor before Georgia Tech can set. If they find an alley, they want to take advantage, it looks like, at least here in the first 6 minutes and change. And there is the freshman Shefflin with his opening basket.
Georgia Tech isn't going to double down on Shefflin. They're going to let Howard play him one-on-one.
Hey, Ian Shefflin, he and Middlebrooks, these minutes right here, there'll be a payoff in 22-23 for Brad Brownell. There's Sturdivant lining up a 3, his 23rd of the year. He's coming off 11 points at Notre Dame on Saturday. He's had 6 games of 10 or more against the league.
And he's another guy against the league, Wes. He doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but he's a very high percentage.
Here's Shefflin. Kick for Hunter. And a 2-pointer off the back iron. Shefflin knocks it out. Fresh 20 for the Tigers.
That was really a nice job in traffic to just tip it out. And the best part of Hunter's game, I think, is that mid-range game. That shot that he just missed is one that he makes a very high percentage of the time.
Collins, shot clock at 2. Here's Hunter, got to cut it loose. Shot clock violation on the Tigers. Brad Brownell wanted the ball inside when it got to the far side, it looks like.
And this speaks to the point that you just made. Clemson wants to get the ball up the court quickly before Georgia Tech can get set, because when Georgia Tech gets set, they can confuse you with their defensive coverage.
Jackets have sized down. Khalid Moore, the senior from Briarwood, New York, is coming to game. Tigers have gotten in, and Hunter Tyson to the table for Clemson. So we're going to get a look at the senior who's missed the last month with the broken clavicle here in a moment.
The Tigers broke out that 2-2-1 press, and they dropped back into the zone. Woo! That's pretty good backline defense.
Collins was tough at the rim. Here's Hunter trying to go to Shefflin. tough bounce pass, almost turned over. Collins has it up strong, scores. 9 first-half points for David Collins.
Now, do you get an assist for that, Wes, if the ball bounces off the hands of everybody on the other team before your guy catches it?
I'm going to leave that to you. You tell me later. Here's Usher, the runner. And Moore, the rebound from behind. Shefflin and Khalid Moore, the stick back.
Wes, neither one of these teams are particularly great offensive rebounding teams, but they've both done a pretty good job getting second opportunities on the offensive boards. Here's Georgia Tech back into the zone.
Almost like a, is that a 1-1-3, Dan?
Well, they play a 1-3-1, they play a 1-1-3, but they match up out of all their zone coverages.
Here's Moore. Now Sturdivant. By the way, the miss by Collins a moment ago, his first miss of the ball game from the floor.
Georgia Tech thus far, Wes, doing a really good job moving without the basketball.
Yep. Here's Usher, and he got behind the basket because Hunter was there to challenge him defensively. And the Tigers being stingy at the rack. Here's Usher, blocked out of there by Hunter. That was after Collins pinned one on the window a moment ago.
My wife's never really loved grocery shopping, but when she saw how much more we save with the Food Lion app,
Hunter Tyson back to the floor for Brad Brownell's Tigers, huh?
Yes, and that is his x-ray.
Yeah.
And that's not something we spirited out from somewhere. He put that on his social media.
Yeah.
And right in the middle there, that bone is not supposed to look like that.
Yeah. I mean, Hunter put it on the gram. That's what the kids do these days, Dan. You need to hop on there every once in a while. Get on the gram.
Well, no, thank you very much.
Here's Devoe, quick turn, layup good. Nice baseline out of bounds play.
Wes, and once again, Georgia Tech getting the ball close to the basket with some movement. That time, you're right, on an out of bounds play. But if it had not been for 3 blocked shots by the Tigers, Georgia Tech really doing a nice job close to the basket.
Bohannon inside, feeds Collins, double clutched, and draws the foul on Sturdivant. Tech bench thought he got a clean block. Second on Georgia Tech, first on Kyle Sturdivant.
Well, you just get really good movement here on this out of bounds play, and the Clemson guys, they're playing man to man. They can't keep up, and again, just comes off the screen. There's not a whole lot of activity there, but a lot of people moving, took the help away.
Collins' free throw is good. He now has got 10. Don't forget, Saturday night, curtain call for Mike Krzyzewski. Yep, they're going through with this. 4:30, we got nothing but net. And then at 6 o'clock, there's been a decision made that if you want to watch Jay Billis and Dan Shulman and Holly Rowe on ESPN, that's fine. On ACC Network, thank goodness Hall of Famer Debbie Antonelli will join Mark Packer and myself to bring some calmness and sanity to our companion program, as it were.
So it's the Packer, Durham, Antonelli cast.
I think it'd be a really good law firm if you really want to know the truth. Collins with 11. Here's a 3 at the other end. My goodness. Miles Kelly's 20th 3 of the year. This freshman from Lilburn, Georgia, had 9 points in a season-high 29 minutes on Saturday at South Bend in a losing effort.
Well, basically his function right at this point in his career is to come in the game and make threes.
Tyson back rim 3 off the mark. Bohannon couldn't get a hand to it. Georgia Tech with a 1-point lead in the basketball in Sturdivant. Kelly, the young freshman from Lilburn who played at Parkview High School before a year at Hargrave. Here he is wrapping off a screen. Offensive foul going to be on Moore. Clarence Armstrong got him for the hedge. Dan, point of emphasis this year.
Well, it's a point of emphasis, Wes, and what happens is you have to get yourself stopped. And not only wasn't he stationary, but he spread his legs out, and the officials are looking for that.
Yep. Can't go wider than your shoulders, right?
Well, I mean, it's harder to not go wider than your shoulders, but it can't be overemphasized.
Dawes had the 3 rattle out. Got a great look for Clemson. Georgia Tech the 1-point lead. Sturdivant had it picked by Collins. Into the corner, Tyson. Now for Dawes. Into traffic, the scoop, and the score for Alamir Dawes.
And Dawes is another guy, Wes, who has played really well over the last 3 or 4 games. And here, after they score, the Tigers drop back into this zone defense. They trap, and then they drop back into the 3-2 zone.
Here's Collins trying to weave through again. Dawes couldn't handle it, turned over by Clemson. And with that, Jordan Usher is in. And Kyle Sturdivant will check out for Georgia Tech.
In a game like this, Wes, the one thing you can't do, of course you can't do this in any game, but you can't turn the ball over.
Right.
And that's what has Josh Pastner upset right at the moment. His team is like starting to get a little bit of momentum, and they turn it over, and they allow the Tigers to get an easy one.
Here's Usher. Rodney Howard's come back on the floor now as well. Foul line area for Usher, working against Tyson. Poked out of there by Collins. Usher recovers it. 10 to shoot, and Coleman will fire and hit. Devoe Coleman out of Memphis, his 43rd three of the year.
And he's another guy who can really stick the three. And particularly when you give him that much time, and when you're scrambling around in a zone, if you have good ball movement, you're going to get that kind of time.
Here's Nick Honor trying to answer. Rattled off. Bohannon slapped at it. It'll belong to Georgia Tech. Boy, Devoe Coleman. We talked about Chase Hunter in basketball, have a lot of common ground, and most of it tonight from Atlanta. You would expect it for Georgia Tech, but through the years, Clemson has provided some Atlanta products that in some ways have haunted the Jackets. Ian Shefflin from Grayson High School, Chase Hunter from Westlake in the Atlanta area are just 2 of the latest.
Well, and of course, Kyle Sturdivant, Bubba Parham, and Jordan Usher are guys who went to other places and came back to Atlanta.
Well, I noticed nobody from Chester, South Carolina we had on that list. Craig Mobley, who joins us here at the table, who is the Clemson recipient of the ACC Unite Alumni Award. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. We look forward to visiting with you here, but we've got a heck of a ball game going on. And I know you don't get back to the East Coast much, so this is extra special to be here tonight with a ball game, huh?
And more special when they win.
Well, I agree with that. Devoe turning on Dawes, knocks the jump shot down. Michael Devoe now with a half dozen. Craig, you were here at a time, played basketball at Clemson, and then saw an opportunity to finish your education, then serve our country in a unique way as in the United States Air Force. Take us through the experience, though. And Dan mentioned earlier, you guys just missed each other, I think, by a year or so in the early 70s.
Well, I thank Clemson for allowing me to come out of here as a second lieutenant in the Air Force. And in that, I had a chance to be a project manager on a couple of, let's say, defense programs, F-15E, B-52.
Wow.
So in that, you know, I'm always hopeful that our defense will always be good.
Yeah. Well, we see on the screen you're the first African-American scholarship student athlete at Clemson. What does that prestige mean to you now?
You know, that's one of the toughest questions to answer. But I'll say this much. I have to thank Clemson for allowing me to be able to do the things I just talked about. Because without Clemson, I wouldn't have had a chance to graduate, also be in the Air Force, have a chance to coach, all because I learned stuff by being here. So being the first, it had its own loneliness attached to it.
I understand.
And how does it make you feel when you look now and see the changes that have occurred?
Yeah, I've been spending all day like that, and I said, Clemson looks good on television because of how everything is projected, which means the students, the kids, coaching, and you look at what's happening not only here, and just to be blunt, the ACC in itself is that they've done more, I think, in my mind, to make opportunities occur.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned what Clemson did for you. And you're to be congratulated and applauded, not only for representing our country, but you achieved other degrees with institutions and things like that that led to a marvelous professional career in your own right.
Well, I appreciate that, and still working with kids, trying to get them inspired in STEM. So, to love my Tigers, #1.
Well, I tell you what, they're battling here. Hunter Tyson got on the board for the first time in a month. We appreciate you being with us. A pleasure, sir.
Glad to see
Thank you very much.
All right.
Pleasure.
Craig Mobley played here at Clemson in the early 70s and then went on to a marvelous career in the United States Air Force. Thank you, sir. 2-point lead for Georgia Tech. And Jordan Usher back to work here after Tyson's bucket inside. There's Howard and one. So Rodney Howard has got a pair of field goals. And here's Tyson scoring, Dan.
Well, we
helped get
mentioned
them
Tyson.
started.
He hadn't played in a month, and yet he's able to score on the inside. And speaking of scoring on the inside, one of the problems that Georgia Tech has had all season long is the lack of a significant inside presence. And the more Rodney Howard can score on the interior, I think it opens things up for guys like Devoe and Usher on the outside.
Howard missed the free throw. Georgia Tech lead is 4. Here's Hemingway sneaking inside the three-point line, and then Shefflin had it stolen on the baseline by Sturdivant. 5 minutes to play first half. Here is Sturdivant pushing up another three. Alamir Dawes, pretty quiet so far, just a single field goal for his 2 points.
Clemson doing a nice job adjusting to the changing defenses, although that wasn't a particularly good adjustment. That guy in the orange shirt over there was open, but he's not on the team.
Yep, turnover number 6 for the Tigers here in the first half. Don't forget, final episodes of the tournament come up Monday night, 9 o'clock here on ACC Network. Episode 9 covers 10 years from 98 to 2008. And then the last episode, the last 11 years, 2009 through 2020. Don't forget, you can always watch past episodes of the documentary online at the ESPN app. 4-point lead out of the Tiger turnover. Usher from the corner. And Shefflin inside, got a hand on it. Here's Collins. Cut through and beyond Dawes, and that's number 9 in the first half. Or 7, beg your pardon. 7 turnovers, Dan, on Clemson. And here early, now there's 4 minutes to go in the first half. Very inopportune turnovers for Clemson.
Well, there's no question about that, Wes. Clemson did not turn the ball over in the first 5.5 minutes of the game, so all those turnovers are coming right here in bunches. Got 5 turnovers in the last 4 minutes and 44 seconds.
It's helped Georgia Tech to this 4-point lead. Here is Khalid Moore, and one on the cut.
Wes, and we have talked about that the entire game. Georgia Tech doing a great job moving without the basketball. They play that Princeton-style offense, and all that means is you spread the court. There's an awful lot of ball movement and cutting and player movement, and Georgia Tech has been able to get opportunities.
And Khalid Moore knocks down the free throw. He's got 5. That was the second foul on Alex Hemingway. And the junior from Newburgh, Indiana, stays on the floor. Hemingway's played only briefly in the last 2 games. 3-pointer out of the corner, good.
And there, Clemson they recognized the 1-3-1 that time and got it in the corner, which is a very hard coverage spot for a 1-3-1 to one of their best 3-point shooters.
Deficit 4 for the Tigers. Here's Howard working against Middlebrooks. And Collins the turnover. Here is David Collins, open floor for the flush. 13 in the first half for the grad transfer from Youngstown, Ohio.
Now, if you're going to play that kind of offense, Wes, you need a guy who's playing the 5 spot who can really pass the ball. And Howard that time did not pass it well. He turned it over.
Coleman with a hand in his face. Clemson's run off 5 in a row. Dawes trying to find a lane into traffic, had it blocked. 2 blue shirts there for Georgia Tech.
You want to get the ball up the court quickly, Wes, but that was like a 1-on-4.
Devoe tried to find through traffic, knocked out of there. And it will stay with Georgia Tech. But David Collins has been driving the Tiger offense here in the first half. He's got 13 of Clemson's 27.
My wife's never really loved grocery shopping, but when she saw how much more we save with the Food Lion app, she got really into it.
Down the BOGO, son. And a coupon on top of it. More savings? Woo! Woo! $12 in Shop and Earn rewards? I'm on fire! I remember my first rewards. Woo!
We make it easy for all our neighbors to tap into more savings with a digital MVP account. Because this is our home, and that's our Food Lion.
There's a moment. The moment we ask, what if?
What? Oh, here we go, baby. This is it right here.
NC State has taken the lead.
So nice to meet you. So nice to meet you. The future's
Dan, I don't know. We said 36 total turnovers in their first meeting in Atlanta between these two schools. 13 combined here so far. Georgia Tech's 10 assists on 12 made field goals. Clemson has 4 assists on 11 field goals. But those 13 total turnovers, we're still on pace for a big number.
Yeah, we really are. And again, Georgia Tech with their changing defense, it's hard to react to that. And I think the Yellow Jackets have tried to push the ball inside a little more aggressively. And that's the turnovers have resulted there. But Georgia Tech, again, with their ball movement and player movement, that's why they have the 10 assists.
We have our own ancillary conversation here during the game because Josh Pastner's right here in front of us, and I've tried to answer 2 or 3 questions. It's almost like I'm doing games with Crimmins again. So Bobby used to ask me scores during the game. Wes, what's Les Robinson doing tonight with NC State? Are they winning? I know you're watching too, Bobby. Here's Usher. Jump shot in the lane, good. 5 for Jordan Usher.
And Wes, with Usher's quickness,
right?
I think that's a matchup against Shefflin that he can take advantage of, and that's really the first time in this game that he tried to do so.
Here is Shefflin, young freshman, starting again here tonight for the 7th time, and the dunk rattled out. Georgia Tech the 4-point lead and looking for momentum as we come up on 2 minutes. Sturdivant over the Usher screen. Shefflin the rebound.
Wes, and again, your big guy is not going to get uncontested shots inside. That's really a shot that you have to make.
Brad Brownell wants to use the use it or lose it 30 here, I believe. So we're going to step aside. 4-point lead for the Jackets. Back to Clemson in a moment.
There's a moment. The moment we ask, what if?
What if we could go further, jump high?
The ACC Live debuts here on ACC Network. You'll follow Virginia Tech Wrestling. Tony Roby does a great job with that team. Notre Dame's fencing team also profiled. They just won the men's and women's ACC title at Cameron Indoor Stadium. 8 o'clock tomorrow night, ACC Network, and live always on the ESPN app. So a 4-point lead for Georgia Tech. Clemson the ball out of the 32nd timeout from Brad Brownell.
Brad Brownell, one of the reasons he called that timeout, I think he wanted to tell the officials that he thought that last play might have been a goaltend.
Quick throw into the corner. Dawes a 3.
And Dawes has been deadly the last few games from beyond the arc.
Now he came into the ball game. Last 4 ball games, 46% from threes. The 3rd best 3-point shooter in ACC play. He's missed all 3 of his tries here tonight. Tigers need to find some water in that well. Moore pushed it up. Boy, Shefflin, and then fouled by Usher. That'll be the first on Jordan Usher, the 4th on Georgia Tech. Jackets have had some success. I'll grant you Rodney Howard's playing better. The smaller lineup, as Howard gets ready to come back, has paid off for Pastner, though, it looks like.
Yes, it has, Wes, because, again, you're going to play that spread offense, and it allows a little more quickness. And, again, if you're going to be a big guy like Howard and you're going to play in that Princeton-style offense, the best Princeton teams had guys out front who could shoot the basketball and pass.
Yep.
And Howard is not a shooter from out there.
Into the corner, baseline Hemingway, feed to Shefflin, missed the layup. Just a chip shot, and the young freshman Ian Shefflin couldn't finish it. Under a minute to go, 4-point lead for Georgia Tech, and Josh Pastner wants to use it or lose at 30.
Yellow Jackets call timeout. 30 seconds timeout.
4-point lead for Georgia Tech. They want to think about it.
There's a moment. The moment we ask, what if?
What if we could go further, jump higher, or run the whole thing? What if we could be who we're meant to be?
And become who you look up to. This is the moment it all starts.
This is the moment it all starts.
But only if we get the chance to have it.
Don't forget State Farm halftime report coming up. You'll be in the capable hands of Drew Carter, Dallin Cuff, and KJ Smith from our ACC Network studios. Update on Notre Dame and Florida State tonight from the Tucker Center. And pretty competitive ball game. Can I give you a stat, by the way, a look at bubble teams? Coming into tonight, home teams have won 54.6% of conference games, Dan. If that holds, it'll be the lowest winning percentage by home teams in ACC play since 1987.
Wow.
We got a 4-point game here. 43 seconds left. Devoe against Collins.
That's a good matchup.
Sure is. Devoe trying to find a seam, and a foul called on David Collins. 5 on the shot clock when the foul occurred. First on Collins, 4 on the Tigers.
And that's just Michael Devoe taking on a one-on-one challenge. Right there is the foul, and I mean, Collins moved his feet. He was in great position defensively. He gets the foul because he reaches over.
Into the corner, here's Devoe. Now the freshman Coleman. Sturdivant out front with Alamir Dawes. Tigers in a man here with 10 to shoot. Sturdivant winding through, blocked away Shefflin, scooped up. Kelly finds a way to lay it in. 5 for Kelly. Look what Miles Kelly found.
And you could just see Brad Brownell's shoulders slump right there. They did everything except come up with the basketball.
5 seconds to go first half. Here is Dawes poked away. And Kelly on the breakaway, threw it up, and it went in. They're going to double check it. Miles Kelly just kind of threw it up with the red light starting to turn on in the glass.
Well, of course, the officials are going to check on that one.
Yep.
You know, Wes, I'm not sure that he got rid of that ball.
We're getting ready to find out. He did.
Well, did he? Was it out of his hand before that light went on?
The 145th career college game, Dan.
It's amazing, Wes, you get in with the extra COVID year and with these transfer guys, that how much experience these players have.
Middlebrooks wrestles it away from what might have been another Tiger turnover. 12 to shoot, and Collins. Hunter Tyson, by the way, starts the second half now for Clemson instead of Ian Shefflin. There's a little soft fall away for Tyson. By the way, 103rd career game tonight from Monroe, North Carolina senior Hunter Tyson.
And Wes, as long as we're talking about people named Hunter, Chase Hunter, who we featured before the game, has not scored today.
Yep, and he's coming off 2 big ball games in the wins against both Wake Forest and Boston College on Saturday. 4-point lead for Georgia Tech, and Usher. Hard drive into the lane, kick for Sturdivant's 3. Howard and Middlebrooks got locked up, and Ben Middlebrooks, I think, will get whistled for the foul, his first, and the first on Clemson.
We mentioned Hunter Tyson coming back from that broken collarbone, and this is just a real nice job recognizing that he has a mismatch. He's got 4 or 5 inches on Sturdivant, and he takes him inside and scores. Now, he's matched up right at the moment against Jordan Usher, and I think that's a tough matchup for Tyson.
Here is Devoe. Boy, Collins doing a nice job fighting through the screen.
Well, that's also been an interesting matchup to watch.
Coleman. Here's Usher around Tyson. Trying to back him down. There's a fall away from Jordan Usher, and Collins the rebound.
And that was a great defensive play by Chase Hunter. I thought Usher had a lane to the basket, and Chase Hunter went down and helped, forced Usher to stop, and allowed Hunter Tyson to get back in position.
Here goes Nick Honor, sliding in the lane, little lefty floater, good. Second field goal for Honor. Tigers to within 2.
And that was a tough shot.
Here's Devoe. Gets this Tiger man-to-man now. Howard. Sturdivant back inside. Howard fouled on the play by Tyson. No gimmies for Clemson defensively. Georgia Tech is going to be tested, and Tyson draws his first.
Well, we talked about Howard and how important it is in this offense that he passed the ball well. Well, that time he passed the ball and then he cut. And he's not a guy that you're really worried about on the outside, but they left him alone, and he recognized that and went straight to the basket.
Free throw by Howard gives him 5 points. Don't forget, Saturday night, ACC Network coverage starts at 4:30 with nothing but net outside Cameron Indoor Stadium. We'll be inside with the Coach K-Cam coverage starting at 6, and then post-game as well on a historic night in the Atlantic Coast Conference in Mike Krzyzewski's final home game.
You know, Wes,
against North Carolina.
That place is not a very big place.
No, sir.
How are they going to get all you guys in there?
Well, Dan, the premium financially, I don't know if you bought a ticket in a while. This one is costing something. Here's Middlebrooks against Howard and 1. Second field goal for the freshman, Ben Middlebrooks. Howard commits his second.
Well, and there's Clemson this time taking a page out of the Georgia Tech book, taking the ball and getting it inside. Devoe comes to help out, and that's just a really nice job by Middlebrooks getting in position in front of Moore and going quickly to the basket before Howard can get over.
5 points for Middlebrooks, who reclassified in August and was a late add to this recruiting class. This young man ought to be playing his senior year at Westminster Christian in the Fort Lauderdale area. Instead, he's been thrown into the battle in the ACC. There's a little roll in from Sturdivant. He's got 7.
Well, Nick Honor went for the steal, Wes, and that gave Sturdivant a lane to the basket. And here's Georgia Tech now back in the zone.
Boy, Hunter quiet tonight, Dan. Honor from the Tiger Paw. Back rim miss. Devoe pulls it away. Lead for Howard. In traffic, slapped out of there, Middlebrooks.
That's a great job by Howard to run the court and Middlebrooks to run the court.
Standing 3 spins off for Collins. 3 minutes into the second half. Devoe, the left-handed launch. 9 for Devoe on his first 3 of the night.
Wes, throughout his career, he has been as dangerous a three-point shooter in transition as anybody in this league.
Hunter. 6-point lead for Georgia Tech. There's Tyson at the foul line. Hunter Tyson, Dan, starting to feel it here in the second half.
And that's why Tyson is in the game, Wes, because against the zone defense, there's a spot right there at the elbow, and Tyson is able to make that shot. That's where Shefflin struggled to make it.
Usher called. Draws the foul on Hunter Tyson. Well, I was calling Josh. I was holding the card. See, I want everybody to see this. Now, if the head coach of the Jackets will move, we got all these cards over here, and they're Georgia Tech play cards.
They're not your cards.
So a minute ago, Pastor held this up, and I have no idea what that meant.
It means red.
It means red.
Well, you put this down.
Well, he might grab it in a minute, and he's going to.
Well, if he wants it, he's got to grab it.
Right. Foul, by the way, was on Tyson. That's 2 on Tyson, 3 on the Tigers. Usher hit the first. He's got 1 more. I mean, Josh, when Pastor's over here, Dan, it's a lot in front of us.
Well, he is very active over here.
Constant motion over here in front. Karen Blackman's done a really good job holding things down over here for us, by the way, and we appreciate her efforts here tonight. My goodness.
Well, for all of that, Georgia Tech has gone back to their 6-point lead.
And an unforced error. Hunter thought he was going to find Collins, who took off from the basket. Dan, is it the varying zones that Georgia Tech plays? it messes with your vision in a half court more than anything else. And they do a great job disguising it,
yes,
looks
they
like.
do, and they do a great job changing their defense. And there's times where the ball goes to the corner and suddenly now they're in man-to-man or they trap.
6-point lead, 4 minutes gone in this second half. And Dawes got a hand in the passing lane, tried to make the save and did to Collins.
And so now this is where you have to push if you're Clemson.
In the corner, Hunter lost it on the catch. Boy, Chase Hunter still scoreless. Here is Shefflin.
Against the man-to-man now.
Bohannon for Dawes. Missed badly on the three.
That's really good defense.
Turnover did not come back to haunt Pastner's team, who still protects a 6-point lead. Devoe rerouting, can't get through. Coleman gives it a try, and Dawes got a hand in that on the way to Sturdivant. Michael Devoe has got a 3 here for Georgia Tech in transition. He's got 9. The Jacket lead is 6 at Tigertown.
My wife's never really...
Welcome back. 6-point lead for Georgia Tech. Timeout. 5 minutes into the second half. You want to tell people who that is right there?
That is young Will Durham, who is listed as a graduate manager for this team. And he does more than just hold the whiteboard. And this is Manager Appreciation Week.
Yep.
And so certainly we appreciate Will Durham and all the managers.
Well, we really appreciate Will Durham. His sister Emily, by the way, is watching from Washington tonight. Shout out to Emily. Corey Alexander style. Clemson's managers, by the way, Joel Dance is the head manager. Connor Pedersen, Luke Farrell, Georgia Tech, Josh Boyd, Assis DeVore, Zhao Lu. I'll tell you, and I agree with my man Billis on this one, the most important piece to any successful basketball program is the student managers, Dan.
Well, it may not be the most important, but it is a very important.
Yep.
Helps to have players.
Sturdivant, the little runner. He's got 9. Georgia Tech's lead is 8.
And this game is starting to get away from Clemson, Wes.
Shefflin with the right hand. Howard the rebound and a whistle on the... And it's going to be on the freshman from Grayson High School in the Atlanta area out of Loganville, Ian Shefflin. 4th on Clemson and the 1st on the 6'7" youngster who has played a lot of minutes now. Averaging better than 14 minutes a game and has started the last 7 for Coach Brownell.
And Clemson's got to pick it up here on the defensive end, Wes. They need to force some turnovers and get some easier opportunities.
Devoe down the lane. Pretty move by Michael Devoe. He's got 11.
Devoe, Wes, is more than just a three-point shooter, and he's shown that.
10-point lead for Georgia Tech. Biggest of the night for the Jackets. Hemingway on the floor. Collins might have traveled. Here's Bohannon foul line. Shefflin back for Hemingway. Out of the corner and slapped away, but controlled to hit the backboard, I think, and Devoe caught it on the carom there.
That's a great job by Usher to pressure that three-point shot.
Sturdivant tags a 3. Wow.
And Brad Brownell is going to get a timeout because his guys, they're getting one shot, and Georgia Tech's rebounding the ball, and the Yellow Jackets are doing anything they want. They're now on a 9-0 run, and Clemson finds themselves down by 13.
Largest deficit of the night faces the Tigers when we come back.
There are all kinds of products in this world, things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product
had 17 in the last 3, and boy, this is the story now.
Well, and it really is the story. You can see how well he's played over the last couple of games, and Chase Hunter has only attempted 4 field goals tonight, Wes. As you can see right there, I'm not much of a math guy, but that's more than 10 field goal attempts per game. Tonight, Dawes and Hunter have combined for 1 for 10, 0 for 5 from 3.
And Georgia Tech on a 14-2 run the last 4 minutes. And now with a 13-point lead, and the Tigers need buckets, and there's a turnover, and Usher had it, and then last touch by Usher after Tyson knocked it away. So it will stay with Clemson here.
And the Tigers have had a couple of opportunities inside as well, but remember, P.J. Hall is not playing.
Right.
So they've got Shefflin and Middlebrook, some inexperienced guys playing, or guys who don't have the experience of Hall, and they haven't been able to convert inside some shots that P.J. Hall you just think would automatically make.
16 points, 5 rebounds in league play, and a nice head fake, and Collins has his 6th field goal and now 15 in the ball game for the Tigers, who trail 11. Sturdivant and Hunter matched up in the man-to-man that the Tigers play. Georgia Tech shooting 48.7% tonight from the floor. 5 to shoot. Here's Howard, the catch and score.
Great
Bodies
job.
went down. Rodney Howard ends up with his 3rd field goal.
Well, great job by Howard to take advantage of the fact that Shefflin was standing there looking at the bodies on the floor, and he just went to the basket.
Here's Tyson, a shot fake. Takes Howard baseline, the reverse. 8 for Tyson. Here's Howard in the post. Sturdivant, another play. Howard, the catch and score.
Well, that time Sturdivant was left alone, and Shefflin went out to guard him, and nobody picked up Howard, who just rolled to the basket.
Yep. That little dive by the post is proved profitable. Here is Shefflin to the dunk.
Nice job to get the ball into the middle of that defense to Collins.
So down 11 with under 12 to play. Clemson could score it, but they got to get stops, Dan.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that in the second half they've had trouble doing. Shefflin doing his best to try to put some pressure on Howard.
Sturdivant left that short. Here's Hunter running into the rebound. He'll take the break down the floor, tripped, and Usher will be called for his 2nd, I believe. It'll be the 2nd on Georgia Tech in the half. But Rodney Howard, the story here in the last couple moments.
Well, Rodney Howard is a guy, Wes, who we said he can play inside, and his presence in there and his passing has really helped the Tigers, has really helped the Yellow Jackets tonight.
We do.
11-point lead for Georgia Tech. 11.5 to go here at Littlejohn tonight. Dan, a week from tonight, we'll be in the middle of the 2nd round of the ACC tournament presented by New York Life at Barclays Center. If they went today, this would be the pairings, or the bracket, if you will. And I call your attention, like Georgia Tech and Clemson and NC State and Louisville and Pittsburgh, they're scrambling now. This could go any sort of way. Bottom line is these 6 are going to be that spot, though, when we open next Tuesday.
Right, it just depends on who's going to play against whom.
That's it. Free throw by Hunter after the foul going to break. First points of the night for Chase Hunter with 11:24 to go in the ball game.
Wes, and it would certainly help the Clemson cause if Hunter and Dawes could get more involved offensively, but Clemson has to start it on the defensive end. Georgia Tech shooting 64% in the second half, and you're not going to come back in a game from being 13 down if you can't get stops.
Coleman, Usher. Jordan Usher at the foul line. Little scoop. Hunter the rebound. Neither team has shot it poorly in the second half so far, but defense has been optional at both ends too. Georgia Tech's just had the run. Clemson struggled through droughts tonight, and there is Shefflin. That's going to be on Howard.
No.
Oh, a travel. They're going to call the travel on Shefflin. So a turnover on the Tigers, which will be their 11th. And send it to Georgia Tech. Crowd not happy here at Littlejohn.
Well, Shefflin is already falling down when the contact occurs.
Right.
I think it's a good idea by Shefflin to try to drive the ball to the basket, put some pressure on Howard.
Right. Here's Moore. That's a step back 3. Dawes fell down. Rebound for Tyson.
Now I think if you're Clemson, you've gotten to stop. You have to push the ball.
Here's Tyson. That's a long three. Front rim miss. Sturdivant the rebound. Here's Devoe. Look away. Hunter got a hand in the passing lane. Knocked it over the inline. It'll stay with Georgia Tech.
Wes, suddenly we see some activity from Chase Hunter. You know, he scored made those free throws on the one end.
Right.
But he's picked up his defense here.
Sturdivant trying to get it in bounds. Shefflin knocked it away. Here's Hunter with the turnover. He's got Shefflin with him. Chase Hunter tried to fight through traffic. Brian O'Connell says it's on the deck, and it is against Khalid Moore. It'll be his second. Third on Georgia Tech.
Wes, I know what Hunter was trying to do in that particular situation, but it was a 3-on-1 fast break, and you know, I think if he gives up the basketball, they may get an easy one.
Halfway home in the second half, Georgia Tech by 9. Here's Shefflin. Hunter trying to find an outlet, and Shefflin tried to go backdoor to Dawes, and Clemson turns it over again. That's 12 in the ball game now for the Tigers. Coleman on the hard drive and a tough shot and basket for the rookie Devoe Coleman.
Boy, that's really almost a backbreaker for Clemson right there. You have an opportunity. Alamir Dawes wasn't even looking for that pass. So you have a chance to cut into the lead. Now you turn over, and now it's back to 11.
Clemson now got to figure out something. Tyson into the corner. Tried to go to Shefflin. Foul on Howard. Rodney Howard's third.
And this is the way you make a team pay for a mistake. This is just a great job. Coleman recognizes that he's got Shefflin trying to guard him and that he's got an advantage in quickness, and so he takes him from the outside and gets all the way to the goal.
Bohannon and Hemingway into the ball game for Clemson.
Hunter Tyson, Wes, has made really good contributions, but he hasn't practiced in a while.
Right.
He's very limited in the number of minutes that he can go at any one time.
Here's Dawes out of the corner. Missed on the three. 9 minutes to go now and down 11.
Wes, it looks like Dawes is hurrying his three-point opportunities, and Georgia Tech doing a nice job putting some pressure on him, make him think he has to hurry.
Devoe and Collins matched up again. Here's Coleman, 8 to shoot. Now Sturdivant well out. Moore going to work on the bounce against Hemingway. Around Shefflin. Howard the rebound, lost it. Here's Dawes into the front court.
Georgia Tech doing a great job getting back on defense, Wes.
Bohannon to Shefflin, layup good. Extra pass paid off there.
Really did. Really nice pass by Bohannon, and Shefflin that time caught the ball, went quickly to the basket, and was able to make a layup under pressure.
Clemson's first basket in just under 3 minutes. That was almost their 5th drought of the night of 3 or more, Dan.
Wes, it's hard to win a game when you go 15 minutes in the game without scoring.
Yep, and that time Collins tried to step in, 5 to shoot, Moore a 3. And Shefflin took it from Howard. Collins leads the break, and Devoe is going to be called for the foul against David Collins. First on the senior from Orlando, 5th on Georgia Tech, gets us to a break here at Little John. Georgia Tech trying to win for the 3rd time on the road in the league, up 9.
If the workday's over but your hunger is gearing up, go for all the hand-breaded chicken you can handle. Cause with 8 pieces of handcrafted chicken...
Sometimes you can drown in percentages, stats, and analytics, right? I'll be the first to tell you that. But this percentage of team points and percentages of field goals made between Michael Devoe and Jordan Usher is a fascinating note. But sometimes you don't need all that they give you, right?
Well, sometimes you need the other guys to help out. It's interesting. Those are the numbers on the season. But in Georgia Tech's 4 ACC wins, Devoe and Usher have only scored 37% of the team's points, and they have a lead today, and they've only scored 33% of the team's points.
So with Usher and Devoe on the floor. Howard, Sturdivant, and the young freshman Miles Kelly has returned. Here's Hemingway missing from the corner. And boy, the struggle has been real for Alex Hemingway.
And Hemingway that time, Wes, he had an open shot, and that's what Hemingway's in the game to do, is make threes, and he had a wide open three. I thought he had plenty of time to load up. Clemson, I think he'll take that shot every time.
Yep, Howard up 9. Here's Sturdivant with 10 to shoot. Ball screen against Dawes. Now here's Devoe rolling with Collins. Scoop off the line, rebound. Middlebrooks is in there now with Collins. Here's Big Ben down the floor. Now Dawes.
That was really a good catch.
Step back three. Got it. First triple of the night for Dawes. And a little energy in the building here at Clemson.
That's the first three in the second half for the Tigers.
Georgia Tech scoreless the last 2.5. Devoe into traffic. Collins and a held ball. And possession will stay with the Jackets with 13 to shoot. Michael Devoe and David Collins been worth your ticket tonight.
Yes, they sure have. Now, Devoe has 11 points, but he has had to work very hard for every one of them, primarily because of the defense by Collins.
Josh Pastner is going to take a timeout here. 13 to shoot and 6.5 to go. And here's tonight's Big Bo moment, brought to you by Bojangles.
Well, it's not only a Big Bo moment, but it's a big moment for the Clemson Tigers. They hadn't made a three-point basket in the second half, and Alamir Dawes, with that little step back, draws the Tigers to within 6. And this is as close as Clemson has been since early in the half.
Yep. You see Antonio Reynolds Dean has got the whiteboard out in the Tiger huddle with their head coach Brad Brownell looking on. 6-point game. And the Tigers, their last 8 games, 32% from 3. And the last 8 includes the first meeting in Atlanta where they were 6 of 24 from 3.
Well, you know, you'd even take 6 for 24 because that's 25%. They're only shooting 22 tonight. They'd love to have 32.
Georgia Tech, one of their last 7 out of the corner. Front rim miss. Here is Bohannon behind the back, layup good.
Oh. Wes, the whole time he's dribbling the ball down the court, I'm thinking, give it up to somebody. But instead, one of your big guys dribbles it behind his back.
And Naz says, you sit right on over there, big fella. 4-point game. Here's Devoe and an offensive foul on Michael Devoe. It'll be his second. It's the 6th on Georgia Tech. Dan, take me through this now.
Well, here's Bohannon. He gets going, and this is just, and he may push off a little bit there, but he's able to change hands and lay it in. That is a really nice play.
So Devoe commits the foul.
Well, they called him for a hook. And again, it's the defense by Collins. He's been right up against Devoe, made it very difficult.
So here is Georgia Tech now, spreading out this zone again. Bohannon at the foul line. Middlebrooks, 10 to shoot. Ben in a double team. Nice wrap. Collins the catch and score. Nice patience by the young big man.
He did a really nice job to maintain his feet. This pivot foot, Josh Pastner thought he walked.
9-0 run by the Tigers to get to within 2. Usher, 3 from the front. And Collins will let that bounce into the bench. David Collins has done a little bit of everything here, Dan.
Well, he's really played well on the defensive end, and here Devoe takes and hooks him. You can clearly see that left hand going around him. There wasn't a lot of contact there, but the referee's standing right there, and here Middlebrooks, just a really nice pass. And who does he throw to? Collins, once again, in the right spot at the right time.
Collins 17. He's the only Tiger in double figures. Dawes shoots for the lead. I mean, Dawes is lucky it doesn't burn up when it re-enters the atmosphere.
Wes, that was actually a poor pass. I was surprised he took the shot.
Devoe tries to get Tech back in front and does.
Now Devoe wins the battle that time. Collins fell down. Good patience by Devoe to collect himself and score.
Hemingway's got to be thinking, how do I get involved in this? Middlebrooks on the deck, knocked away, turned over by the Tigers. Lead for Usher, layup good. 5 in a row for Georgia Tech. And a timeout has been asked for by Clarence Armstrong to get some moisture off the floor. Jordan Usher's first field goal of the second half pushes it to a 4-point Georgia Tech lead.
Wes, we've talked about Georgia Tech and their changing defenses. Well, that time, for the first time in the game, they came with a trap and they surprised Middlebrooks. Really great response by Georgia Tech. I mean, Clemson had this crowd going after that 3-point basket by Dawes.
And of course, Usher. You see the transition basket. Chase Hunter back on the floor. Here's Bohannon, foul line area. Dawes been feeling it.
Dawes is asking for it.
Yeah, he wants the rock. Collins for Hunter. He'll launch and hit.
That's his first field goal of the game.
With 4:03 to play. How about that? 1-point lead for Georgia Tech. Sturdivant against Dawes. Held ball, possession to the Tigers. Timeout. Well, they've been playing more than 100 years, these two. And every once in a while, they'll throw a barn burner at you. We've had a lot of sways in the ebb and flow of this one tonight. 1-point game when we come back.
There's a moment. The moment we ask, what if?
What if we could go?
Episodes of the tournament debut Monday night, 9 o'clock. Talk about a primer to get you ready for Brooklyn. Watch these last two things. Right here on ACC Network, streaming live on the ESPN app, presented in part by New York Life, and a terrific effort from John Dahl and his group, John Hawk, and the folks at Hawk Films, and our very, very talented men and women at ESPN Films.
Well, Wes, that has been so well done.
Been a lot of fun to look back for folks like you and me. Younger folks taking in some history, by the way.
Well, it's a walk down memory lane has been very pleasant. But as you say, Wes, it has exposed a new generation to a lot of stuff.
Yep. There's a reason the passion is what it is for the event, as I tell folks, and now a lot more folks have seen why. 1-point lead for Georgia Tech. Middlebrooks, short corner pass. Trying to work up inside, had it blocked away. All of a sudden, he got surrounded. The young freshman was in trouble.
Well, once he stops, Wes, he's got to pass the ball.
Sturdivant, an air ball. Missed everything. Never got to the rim.
The ball just slipped out of his hands, and Middlebrooks, after making a mistake down on the offensive end, made a really nice play down on the defensive end.
So still a 1-point game with 3:20 to go. Almost 37% of ACC games have been 5 or less this year. No look, Bohannon against Howard. Tigers in front. Second field goal of the ball game for Naz Bohannon.
And remember, Wes, he's one of those transfer guys. He scored over 1,200 points at Youngstown State, so he can be an option inside.
Timeout for Georgia Tech with 2:59 to go. Well, Naz Bohannon, Dan, to your point, averaged 16.5 points and 8 rebounds a year ago for the Penguins. Numbers not that high here, but he's averaging 6 and 5 against the league.
Well, and that's just a really powerful move down on the inside. And Bohannon, 6'6", 232 pounds.
Yep.
And he used every bit of that bulk against Howard inside.
Don't forget, we are live from Greensboro with nothing but net following second round play of the ACC Women's Tournament. Right here on ACC Network, 10 o'clock tomorrow night with Kelsey Riggs, Kelly Gramlich, the Hall of Fame coach, Muffet McGraw, and Chelsea Gray. By the way, on a side note, congratulations to Clemson They were a winner earlier today, as was Duke and Wake Forest, all winning in first-round play today on the ACC Women's Tournament in Greensboro. Next year, both the men and women will be at the Coliseum Complex in the Gate City. 1 point lead for the Tigers, and Georgia Tech the ball out of the timeout.
Clemson defense, Wes, has been really good in this stretch. We talked about the need to get stops, and the Tigers have gotten them.
6 to shoot. Here's Devoe against Collins, taking him on the bounce and a foul. I believe it's on Tyson. Brian O'Connell from underneath. And it is on the senior from Monroe, North Carolina, in his first action in a month.
One of the few times that Collins has allowed Devoe to get by him, and Tyson coming to help. And Collins, Wes, he's playing out on the perimeter, trying to put pressure on Devoe. And Devoe is such a canny, experienced player.
12th best free throw shooter in the ACC. First trip tonight for Orlando's Michael Devoe. By the way, Nick Honor not on the floor. He and Michael Devoe both grew up in Orlando. Nick's father coached them as youngsters in an AAU game, in an AAU team, I should say. 1 of 2 for Devoe. 15 points for the tournament MVP a season ago in Greensboro. 61 all now.
It's
10 to shoot.
Man.
Collins, jump stop. Here's Dawes. Step back 3. Spins out. Devoe the rebound with 2:08 to play.
Really good man-to-man defense by Georgia Tech that time.
Usher. And an offensive foul as Collins went down. Josh Pastner doesn't think there was a lot of contact here, Dan.
Well, Jordan Usher, as Jordan Usher is wont to do, he really gets going into the lane. And Wes, it's one of those things. Did he throw his arm out there? That's I think Collins got away with one there. He sold one. Yes, that Jordan Usher's arm was on Collins, but I'm not sure there was a lot of contact there.
Here's Bohannon driving it on Howard. Scoop and score.
Oh, that's going to be a hard matchup for Howard.
Too big, too quick, too strong?
I think a little too quick, particularly he's going to move away from the basket. Howard can handle him inside, but he can't guard him 20 feet away from the goal.
Couple of big baskets here for Naz Bohannon, Dan, in this little push by the Tigers, and Georgia Tech takes their last time out with 1:30 to play in the ball game.
Well, he's at the top of the key, and he gets his head and shoulders around, and once that happens, there's very little that Howard can do.
Brad Brownell's got 2 as he talks to his staff. Georgia Tech, no timeouts to go the final 90 seconds. Well, you know the story. These two met early February 1913 at the Crystal Palace in Atlanta. John Heisman coaching Georgia Tech. Frank Dobson coached Clemson. Tigers won 26-22. They've been playing nearly every year since. Tech's won 4 of the last 5, including the meeting earlier this year. Clemson has won 6 of the last 10, and they have dominated. The Tigers have the series here at Little John Coliseum, winning 15 of the last 16. But Dan, a year ago, it looked like Georgia Tech was going to win the game, and then Nick Honor's heroics after Jose Alvarado missed a free throw.
Jose Alvarado missed 2 free throws, Wes, and that was... He goes to the line, and you figure, okay, he's going to make at least 1. And so that was a strange turn of events because Jose Alvarado was a guy that never missed big free throws.
Yep. And, of course, the win by the Tigers kind of sparked their postseason play, and it also turned around Georgia Tech for their hard run to the end, too. Usher will put it in play. 23 to shoot, 1:30 to play.
And Clemson now going with the smaller lineup.
Yep. Boy, Tyson almost got a hand on that one. Here's Coleman now backing down Hunter. Put it up and 1 for Devoe Coleman.
Well, this is a really good job by Devoe Coleman in traffic. Just takes his arm right up through the arm of Chase Hunter and draws the foul.
Ties the game at 63. 7 for Coleman. 20 of 27 at the line this year is this young man who is Florida's Mr. Basketball. And Georgia Tech in front 1. 75 seconds to go. Dawes.
Man to man.
Bohannon look for a cutter. He'll drive instead. The follow, Collins. Clemson returns to the lead.
The drive by Bohannon causes the defense to collapse.
We started this second half talking about who could get stops. Here we are in the final minute. Devoe rimmed out. Howard battles, goes up, draws the foul. Smart play by Rodney Howard. If he got his hands on it, Dan, he just went straight up, hoping for the whistle and got it.
He didn't bring it down as soon as he got enough control of the ball that he could force it up to the basket. And this is a really good job by Howard in traffic. Tough shot by Devoe. It just rims out. Howard tips it and then actually takes it away from Chase Hunter, and then in a big crowd just tries to force it up.
2 shots for Rodney Howard. He hit both free throws earlier tonight. 2 for 3.
He's only got 10 seconds left.
Oh my. It hit the back of the rim and bounced over the glass. I don't know that I've ever seen that on a free throw.
Wes, I thought it might roll along the top of the board and drop down in.
Second one, cleanly through.
Wes, I'm telling you, that is a big free throw, particularly after you missed the first one, the way he missed the first one.
12-second differential, shot clock to game clock. 6 tie of the ball game, and now a Clemson timeout. One of the 2 remaining for Brad Brownell with 36.1 to go. Well, boy, these Tigers have found themselves more than one time, Dan, in league play in tight fits like this.
Yeah, Wes, and Brad Brownell calls the timeout because this is obviously an extremely important possession. If you do not make a basket here, you're going to be under 30 seconds in all probability, and that will mean Georgia Tech can hold the ball for the last shot.
Clemson has played in the ACC, Dan, 7 ball games of 5 or less. And the Tigers have a 5-point win in Raleigh to their credit.
Well, Wes, you know, lots of times a season is really dependent on how well you do in close games. I was just reading something this morning that talked about the University of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They are 15-1 in games decided by 6 points or less. And so if you're going to have, when you have a record like that in close games, obviously you're going to have a good year. But for the Tigers, let's think about what they might want to do here. Bohannon has really been a threat, driving the ball to the basket. Dawes was hot. He's cooled off a little bit now. And again, Chase Hunter, I think, is a real option driving the ball to the basket.
By the way, Brian O'Connell, Brian Dorsey are at the table, and they're looking at a clock issue here. I think it may have to do with seconds remaining, either shot clock or game clock here. Obviously, there's about an 11.1 differential. Now, one of the things you and I have had discussions about, there's no 1/10 of a second on shot clocks. And so we don't know how much of that 25 is left. We do know there's 36.1 left.
Wes, and again, the key situation here is if you're Georgia Tech, you're not, excuse me, if you're Clemson, you're not looking to hold the ball for the last shot because you can't. No matter what you do, unless there's a foul here late in the clock. And if there is a foul, you're going to go to the free throw line. So it's a situation where you have to make sure you get a good opportunity, because when Georgia Tech gets the ball back, in all probability, there's going to be under 30 seconds left and the shot clock will be off. The question is whether Georgia Tech will be shooting for the win or trying to get a tie.
So they are looking at a clock issue here. And they do have a stopwatch out at the table. And Dan, speculation here, preface that oftentimes has to do with the game clock starting or stopping inadvertently somewhere along the way.
Well, my guess would be, Wes, that the clock didn't start as they were dribbling the ball up the court.
So Brian O'Connell and Brian Dorsey are at the table, and I think that's what they're looking for. Okay, so
it's gonna involve 2.5 seconds.
Yep.
I don't know whether they're gonna add or subtract.
Okay, so there was, after the basket was made, there was a stoppage.
Well, what happened was the basket was made with a minute left in the game, and so they stopped the clock.
Right.
But you're not supposed to stop the clock until there's under a minute left in the game.
Okay.
So when 1 minute, the basket was scored at 1 minute, so they took, if the clock stopped, it wasn't supposed to stop, they took 2.5 seconds.
There we go. So now the shot clock differential is about 8 seconds as opposed to 11.
Yeah,
or
but
the
still,
neighborhood of 11.
it's not going to give Clemson the opportunity to hold for the last one.
Right.
And so Brad Brownell, they've had an extensive timeout here. And the only question is, Wes, you drew up a play, but against what defense? Because Georgia Tech has about 18 different ones they can throw at you.
Right. .65 all.
So they're back in the zone.
Yep.
That
and
looks
here
like
is
that
Dawes.
1-1-3 zone.
Michael Devoe plays out front with Hunter. Dawes back for Hunter. 15 on the shot clock. Squares up on Sturdivant. Here's Bohannon. Spinning on Devoe. Backs him down, scores, and draws the foul.
This is just great patience by the Clemson Tigers, and Naz Bohannon, who did not attempt a field goal in the first half, has been dynamite for the Tigers down the stretch here.
Foul was on Michael Devoe. It's his third. Brad Brownell uses his last timeout.
Well, and again, now he's got, they're up by 2, and he wants to make sure that his guys know what they're doing. I'm actually, Bohannon is a 68% free throw shooter. And, you know, he's going to wait a long time before he attempts this free throw. But again, because he is a 68% free throw shooter, I don't think Brad Brownell wanted to take the risk of him missing the shot and then allowing Georgia Tech to get in sort of a scramble type situation. He wants to make sure that make or miss, his guys get set.
Miles Kelly was going to the table, and now he will be sent in to the ball game to replace Rodney Howard. Here is Bohannon with 8 points, all in the second half.
Well, now, obviously, this free throw, Wes, is big. It changes the strategy in a number of ways. And Bohannon, as you can see, all in the second half. He has been such a big factor.
Now, Collins is going to be the only Clemson player on the foul lane, Dan.
And you want to be careful here. If you're Collins on the miss, you don't want to commit a foul.
Right.
Haven't been very many free throws tonight.
No, sir. Tigers have only attempted 6. They've hit 5. Bohannon to make it a 3-point game, and does. Very dramatic roll-in for the 9th point. And here is Nick Honor now into the ball game to replace Bohannon. Georgia Tech will be shooting a 3. They're 7 of 21 tonight from behind the line.
All you have to do if you're Clemson right now is you defend the 3. You don't worry about the 2. Now, of course, if Georgia Tech can get the ball down the court really fast, they might be able to go for it, too.
Here is Sturdivant, front court. They're out of timeouts. Coleman with 8. Now to Sturdivant, 5.
You switch all the screens. You just defend the 3.
He'll launch to tie. It's short. Kelly had it on the end line. It hit the end line, and that's the ball game. Clemson pulls one from the fire tonight, Dan.
Boy, they sure did. They were down 13 early in the second half, Wes, and it looked like they had no shot. We talked about the fact they had to pick it up defensively. They did. Hunter and